Hello, welcome to another episode of Bush Bros. In this one, we're going to be going over 7 simple steps to secure your first Warzone win. This can be either the big map, small map, resurgence. The steps and guidance applies to both. For the most part, we concentrate on resurgence, but again, it applies to both. But let's get right into it in the chip and dip method. So chip and dip work together. We're going to start off with chip, which is the kind of end game play. How to get that win once you get down to those final five teams. Dip is going to be the preparation. You prepare your dip before you chip, before you eat, and then use the chip to eat. We'll get into dip next, but let's start off with chip. First off, communicate. When you're looking at a quads game, you're going to be looking at, four very highly talented folks who work together for a while, for the most part, if they got into that end game. You need to be equally, communicative with your teammates because they need to know, hey, where are people? Where are they coming from? What are you doing? Are you going off on your own? Are you looking somewhere else? Are you, drifting away from where the rest of your team is, or are you looting? Communicating, letting people know it's the most important part because without it, it's really just 1v1 v4 v or sorry 1v4 which is terrible odds. Help side, again, work with your team. You don't want those 1v4s, where it's just you versus 2 and 4 when you have, three others, but they don't know where you are and they aren't there to help you. So when I say help side, it means being there to help your team. It means taking the right shots. You don't want to do, four 1v1s either. You don't want to have each person on an island. What you want to do is you want to be there so you can get a 2v1 or a 3v2 where you're able to overwhelm a team. It's knowing when to take those shots and who to shoot at. So be help side for your team. Next up is improvise. Oops. Well, look at that. There was no patience there. So improvise. We're talking about, hey, we want to be, help side for everything, but you got to take what the map, what the circle moves, what the other teams are giving you. So, improvise. It's what makes Resurgence and Warzone so fun is that every game's different. But again, you can't improvise without communication. Let your team know that you're going, rogue or that you're trying something new, because then they can plan accordingly and they can improvise to help cover. Now that we have a little more patience, patience. So this is really, important in the end game. This might be the most important one. When you're facing, there's three teams left and you're one of those three teams, you don't want to be the first team to shoot. You don't want to be in that first gun battle. You want to be the third team to shoot. You want to wait for those two teams to either get weak or for one to wipe the other. Then you want to step in and clean it up. Yeah, is it the most honorable way to play? No, but we're here to win. We're not here to get kills, to, fight with honor. The game was designed the way it was. So show some patience and just get that final kill, get that win, and that's how you're going to get your first win. All right, well, so that's we're going to take a break right now, and we're going to get to our next part, which is dip, which is the preparation to put you in a good position. So if you like this video, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll see you in a little bit. Hi, folks. Welcome back to another version of Bush Bros. This is a continuation of our 7 simple steps to get your first Warzone win using the chip and dip method. We went over chip, which is that end game play, what to do when you actually get into that end game. But let's talk about dip, which is the preparation. So, as you know, Bush Bros are all about glamping. We want to get that point of interest, the best place in the map at the end game so that you can control what's happening around you. In order to do that, though, once you find your point of interest, and we'll have other videos that kind of get into each of these points, into the chip points, into the dip points, each individual item. Uh, but once you get into that point of interest, how should you approach it, or what do you need to do? So, first up, deny access. So we're not here to, camp. We're not here to be, all camped out in a bathroom, just waiting, waiting, waiting. No, we're here to win, and the way you win is by holding that point of interest and making sure people don't take it from you. The best way to do that is to deny access. So what that means is being aware of your surroundings and letting other teams know that you're there. I'm not saying like, hey, have one person pop off. No, let people know all four of you are there. A team might push you, but they're not going to do it from a position of strength. So you have the upper hand, but also it'll just be a deterrent. People aren't going to want to come towards you, and they're going to end up getting pushed into other teams, which makes your life easier. Um, which gets us to our next point of inventory. Figure out what throwables, what deployables, what usables, what kill streaks you need, and what plays best for you and your team. For me, I like landmines, I like stims, I like smokes. I think the stims and the smokes allow you to be patient towards the end. They allow you to rotate. They give you coverage. But other people might prefer something more aggressive, like a stun or a flash, or snapshot. Everyone's different, and so figure out what works best for you. For throwables, I like landmines. I like to be able to hold down an entry, know if people are coming. And I think most people who try to hold down an access point really would want those landmines, but someone might like a thermite or a Semtex, something to help finish if they down someone. And that's good. You have that variety on your team. And then as far as kill streaks, everyone has their preferences, but also like UAVs and muni boxes. Figure out what works for you, extra self revives, and if you need to stock up on stims to be patient in that end game, now's the time to do it. Which brings us to our last one of position. We talked about, the point of interest here, as far as, how do we want to hold something down? How do we want to make sure we are, in the right place, to put us in the position to win the game? And at the end of the day, that's going to differ by game. But for me, it's usually high ground. Usually somewhere where you're not going to get pinched, preferably on the edge where the circle is not going to have a bunch of people coming in at the same time. So, where it's kind of a slimmer edge around the circle. But again, it'll depend. But, the example I like to give is on Rebirth Island headquarters, because you can move to pretty much anywhere from headquarters. Um, if it's towards the end game, you have high ground, and then you can also clear out other places and move. So again, position is probably key here because it can cover for a lot of weaknesses, including, frankly, your skills. Because I'm not the best at a 1v1 death match, but if I'm in the right position, it gives me a much better shot. So Aaron, this was the chip and dip method for Bush Bros. Thank you for taking your time to listen to what we had to say here, and hopefully it helps you. We'll be providing some live gameplay videos to show these things in action with a further breakdown on some of these. But yeah.